because I'm about to talk about Arsenal and Tottenham and about St. Tottenham's Day, so I'm going there. But first of all, can we talk about the fact that Tottenham has gotten the easiest draws in every cup that they've been in, English, domestic, like Europa League?
And Man U gets the toughest.
Yep.
Well,
Feels good.
I'm just saying, like I'm looking at this team. Do you know it, Aaron? Isaac? Can you even pronounce it if you had it in front of you?
Can you give us
Dynamo
a hint?
Zagreb.
Oh, Zagreb. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Zagreb. Yeah.
Oh, Zagreb. Of course, yeah. Name one
Dinamo
of their
Zagreb,
players.
yeah.
Name
They
one.
are crushing it in the Croatian league right now. I will say they're doing very
They
well.
have been consistently in the Champions League too in the past. So I mean, they're an experienced team. Not
Okay,
good.
well, all I'm saying is of all the teams in the Europa, let me put it this way. If I had to choose between them or AC Milan, Aaron,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would not choose AC Milan. And I'm just looking, mark your calendars, friends, because Arsenal's next game is against Burnley. Don't mark it for that. But then the following weekend, March 14th, on Sunday at 12:30 p.m., we have Arsenal and Tottenham. And that should be actually a
The
pretty
North
good
London
game, because
Derby.
if Tottenham does lose to them. That'll be a little leapfrog situation, methinks.
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I can see Arsenal losing to Burnley for sure. But yeah, any time for a North London derby, it's gonna be very exciting. And watch it; it'll probably turn into a 0-0 draw, and we'll be talking about how much of a letdown it was. But fingers crossed, it's gonna be.
It's so true. It's depressingly true. So you've heard so much from us. Let's take a 5-minute break from our voices. Well, you'll still hear Aaron's, but we have an awesome 5-minute friendly. Aaron, do you want to do a quick intro or just let it roll?
Yeah, so I got the chance to speak with a good friend from college who's also a big-time soccer fan and Barcelona season ticket holder, my friend David Malul Fresco, who came to us, or didn't come to us, but spoke with us from Tel Aviv, Israel. So should be a good listen. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another 5-minute friendly. I'm here with a dear friend and fellow football nut, David Malul Fresco, coming to us from Tel Aviv. So David, can you give us a little bit of background about your history or relationship with the lovely Blaugrana?
Well, as you know, but the listeners don't, I grew up in Barcelona. Since I was a kid, I went to football games with my dad, to every Barcelona game. And, it was even before the Messi times, before the Ronaldinho times, before the real dark Barca, when the real dark Barca times existed, So my passion of Barcelona is big. It's huge. I love it. Love Barcelona. It's part of my heart, part of my life. And, I'm struggling right now, but I'll still always love it.
Yeah, I can imagine you're struggling a little bit right now. Not to heap any pressure on you or anything, but I do have to ask, because we have to give the people what they want. Is Messi staying or going at the end of the season?
Well, look, as a Messi truther, I hope he stays. But I do believe that it is time for Barcelona to move on, and it might be time for Messi to move on. We've been in a situation where the team has been restructuring for a few years. We've had younger talent coming in. And, Messi's Messi. Messi and Tarso will always be tied together. And if he wants to stay, then by all means, I would love for him to stay. But if he believes it's time to move on, then he can go. Barcelona is also in a very precarious financial situation, and Messi's contract is massive. So, you have to find silver linings. If he leaves, it'll be easier for Barca to reconstruct moving forward.
So obviously it's been a tough season to be a Barca fan. So what's really gone wrong for Barca this season, in your opinion, under Ronald Koeman?
Well, I don't think it's specifically about this season. I think the struggles that have been at Barcelona come from many years behind. It's what happens when you have so much success, so many years in a row, and you want to maintain that success going. You forget about renewal and moving forward. I think that one of the things that killed Barca a few years ago was winning that last treble. That year, we weren't playing that well. We still won that treble, and that made Barcelona stay a little stagnant in terms of renewing the squad and getting new players, younger talent. But I think it's a problem that's been happening for a few years, and Messi's been able to maintain us afloat and keeping us in Champions League playoffs and keeping the Barcelona winning most leagues in the last few years. But at that time is eventually going to come to an end. Lately we've been making slight run at getting closer to the top of La Liga, but it's still going to be really tough. It's a struggle that has been happening for a long time, and we need to start moving forward.
So Barca's very different than any other club, pretty much, or most other clubs at least, and definitely different than any Premier League club. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about how Barcelona is structured? I know they have presidential elections coming up soon.
Well, yeah, it's different. Barcelona is one of the only clubs in the world that is actually owned by the fans. By the fans, I mean by the members of the club. It's not like Liverpool, which is publicly traded, or I guess Man United is publicly traded. Sorry, Barcelona is owned by the fans. So officially, I own part of Barcelona. So the way that it works is that every 4 years, 6 years, the laws have changed recently. There's a new presidential group coming in, and there's elections and everything. So in the next few weeks, actually, the elections are happening, and there's going to be a change in president. The latest president we had, obviously, with all the struggles with Messi wanting to leave, he had to quit, and now we're trying to get fresh new blood. Personally, there's one candidate, Joan Laporta, which is the guy that brought Ronaldinho. He's the guy that made Guardiola our coach, even though he had only coached the third division in the Spanish league. And he's brought us a lot of success in the past, so I'm hoping that he wins. I'll be definitely voting for him.
So Barcelona lost pretty heavily to PSG in that first leg of the Champions League round of 16. How are things going to go in that second leg where you have to go to Paris?
Well, remontadas rarely happen, and they're rarely going to happen twice against the same team. I'm very pessimistic in this sense. You know, Barcelona fans, not the new ones, the ones that are lifers like I am, remember the days where Barcelona lost. And I think that this is kind of a remembering of what it used to be like. And it will give us some perspective of the beautiful years that we had during the late 2000s and the early 2010s. But I think it's almost impossible. We have a lot of holes in the defense. Piqué just came back from injury, which, you know, he struggled a lot in that first game. Same with Dest, hasn't been playing well on the right. Lenglet has been god-awful this season. God knows why. He was playing amazing the last 2 seasons. So it's going to be tough. The only way that we're going to come through in this round is just Messi being Messi and going crazy for 35 minutes at the end of the game. But that's the only way that I see us moving forward. I hope that this is a good step for Barcelona to start the change that has been needed for a while, and that has started, but to fully devote to it.
I think it's safe to say one thing that will come out of this season is that iconic picture of Piqué pulling Mbappe's shirt. I think that will always stick in people's minds.
That will always stick in people's minds, yes. But I hope that the image that they remember is Sergi Roberto scoring that goal all that many years ago in the 93rd minute.
Well, David, thank you very much for spending some time with Top of the Table today. And if you want more, you know where to find him. Tel Aviv.
All right. So that was awesome. So cool. We finally got international. I think this is our first time we've had someone who was not in the continental U.S. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff. I didn't realize how their ownership system was so different, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool that it's really part of the city that the club's in, and it feels more like a community atmosphere. And I know that it's been, as David was saying in the interview, that it's been a big part of his life since growing up. And I think that's extended more to the community than it is in other places around the world, even England, where you still see these teams are really part of the local atmosphere and everyone supports them. But this is a whole nother level.
Yeah, and I just love Barcelona for their political activism and the Catalan pride. So it was cool to hear that Barcelona is owned by supporters, and that there's going to be, hopefully there will be some real say for the community and long-term supporters to decide on the elections. And I love that one of the candidates was responsible for bringing in Pep. I think that will be that's going to be a great opportunity for them. And I also love what David was saying about Barcelona, about how Messi has kind of been able to carry them through these patches, but also acknowledging that, you know, post Messi, the building starts now, right? And the new president's going to be a major part of that. It made me think a little bit about Spurs, actually, and thinking about how they should have planned for long-term success instead of keeping the exact same squad 2-3 years in a row. Not to say that Barcelona and Spurs are on the same level, but
no, the Spurs are in a much better spot for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, but I totally agree with you. I think to hear from a season ticket holder, someone who you would think the Boboism meter might be kind of high, to hear just how open he was to Messi moving on, and kind of, I think, being really objective and saying that, like, this is the only way we're really going to move forward as a team. I think I agree with that. And I think that Erling Haaland and then having Griezmann sort of being able to fill in the Messi role, I mean, that sounds pretty horrifying to me. I mean, obviously the pieces, Ansu Fati, they have a lot there.
Yeah.
I hope that they're able to make that transition. Yeah, go ahead.
I did have to cut out some of the interview because we ended up talking for probably like 10 minutes. And I did ask David if you could have one dream signing, and his answer was Erling Haaland, which I wasn't surprised by. It makes a lot of sense. Whether he fits kind of the mold that is the Barcelona system, I think that depends on the coach. But I did find it interesting kind of thinking about how Messi has, as good as he's been for Barcelona, his situation has also been a hindrance for them, and now they really are in a bad position, mainly because of the way they've handled their finances, but because they've built the team around him and kind of given into all of his demands, and it's been a real example of player power as well. So
let me ask you a question. Do you think, so Erling Haaland is obviously going to be offered a lot from a lot of different places, and just going with our Ballon d'Or conversation that we had earlier, do you think that given just competition, the way things are, Mbappe, Neymar, these names are one of the best in the world, Rashford. But I wonder, do you think that Erling Haaland is a player who will avoid the Premier League because of the things we spoke about earlier? Because to be honest, for him to maybe not even live out his full potential, but in terms of global recognition and the brand, I know this is something that's happening in America with a lot of sports, where some players are looking at it like, well, my individual player stats and my incentives are more important than being on a team that's necessarily going to win a lot. Barcelona will win a lot if they have Erling Haaland, but I just wonder if Erling Haaland might be more likely to go to Barcelona because half of his games are going to be a showcase, whereas in the Premier League, it won't be that way.
See, I disagree, because I think, if anything, it's moving more towards the Premier League being the place to go if you want recognition, because you look at the financial struggles of the Madrids, Barcelonas. I mean, PSG, although they have the financial backing right now, the French league has no television deal, so they're not getting broadcasted. Germany is a one-club league, really, for the most part. Italy is although Italy this year is having kind of a renaissance in that there's a real title race, but I don't think he's interested in going there necessarily. So I think the Premier League's the place to go, unless we have a European Super League coming soon, which looks like a possibility. I think if you want recognition and you want to be kind of in the headlines every day, more global recognition around the world, you go to the Premier League now.
Isaac? You agree?
Yeah, I think just for fame and money, probably EPL is the place to come. Just think about, like, just straight up. Well, it depends on the team though, because there is that, like, Real, Barca, Juve. They have such a massively wide, loyal global following that if he goes to one of those teams, he's going to be the star of that club for decades. But as far as, just like day in, day out, a lot more people are watching the EPL, right? And the thing I question though is if he wants to win like European championships, it's far more likely outside of the EPL. So like that right there, if he wants to be the best have to win the Champions League or the European Super League. So if he wants to be the best, then he's going to have to go to somewhere where that's more likely to do that. And EPL teams have shown that they're not quite there yet. We'll see if City can break that mold. I know Liverpool, of course, but he's not going to go
But that
there.
was sort of a one-off, and now that we see Liverpool again, injuries, all those things, like... Oh, I forgot to put Liverpool, Sheffield United in our show. Oh no,
Oh, no.
Dude.
It is going to be interesting though, just to go back to that point that because of the pandemic and the impact that's had on finances, like I don't think Barcelona is going to make any big signings this summer. They might reinvest whatever if Messi leaves. And Real's probably pretty similar. Like they've been hurt so much by the pandemic, they're in such great debt. They're probably not going to be restructuring significantly going into next season. And I think the only clubs that are going to be shelling out big money this summer will probably be Premier League clubs.
Well, we'll certainly have to revisit all of this at another time. Just a quick little tidbit on the table. So let's say City isn't in it. So from position 2.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
No, but I mean, they've already won. But from position 2 to position 10 is 13 points. 13 points. And so this is still wide open for the top 4. West Ham is at 45, sitting at 4th position. And then you have Chelsea at 44, Liverpool at 43, Everton with 2 games at hand at 40. I mean, there's a lot going on here. Why don't we talk about Everton more? Well, they're playing Southampton tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see if they give us a reason to talk about them. But any other thoughts, Isaac?
No, I think we've done it.
Aaron?
Yep. I'm thoughtless.
Well, you know what? We appreciate you guys tuning in.
So
yeah, after all that, I feel thoughtless as well. But thank you as always. You can find us at Top of the Table Pod on Instagram, topofthetablepod@gmail.com. Send in those emails. We want to hear. Give us some controversy. Tell us why you think this or that. Yeah, exactly. And we'll bring you on air. We'll rip you apart. It'll be great. And we're at Top of the Table P on Twitter. And as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time.